Hello, everybody. So, quite a while ago, I think, yeah, back in 2018, actually, I made a form that you could fill out if you wanted to suggest a video tutorial topic. And I've looked at it now and again. It's only been recently that I've started to try and look at it again because I think it'll be a useful way to get some ideas from the community that I can also then, like, basically, I'm going to use this, filter it down to like a handful, and then also just my own ideas of what I want to make and present that to my Patreon supporters because my Patreon supporters actually get topic polls. It looks something like this. So like this was one from a while ago. This was back in August, where they were voting on. This is it's not a great example. They were voting specifically on the inventory, the follow up to my initial inventory video. But then that's because it came from this one where they initially voted for that. And you can see like I come up with a couple of things and then like they vote for them, and if there's like a decent amount of interest, I'll generally like cover multiple things. So I'm like, so I did this, but then I was like, well, there was also quite a lot of interest in this, so I did like both of them. Um, and so on. And if you want to vote on those, go check out my Patreon. My Patreon supporters get to vote on those. But in this video, I'm going to be going through some of your ideas while using this as an opportunity to remind you all that the form exists and that yeah, you can go and fill it out. Because I've not really been pushing or using it lately. So I want to kind of make this a bit more active again. Get some more ideas in here because I mean I have plenty of my own ideas, but it's nice to know like what people are actually like looking for and so on, right? I've already done a whole bunch. I'll explain the colors as I go along. Different kinds of weapons, slashies, arc projectiles, orbiting shields, etc., like in Mega Man, by showing how. Yeah, so I required you to submit the idea and then submit why would this make a good topic for lots of people, because that's generally, I want to make videos that are as useful for as many people as possible. By showing how different kinds of attacks are done, the developer may catch on and start doing more interesting. Okay? So, I mean, I don't know. It's tricky to do this because that's like, there's just a lot of really specific things, and like, actually, you'd be surprised how much this doesn't work because if people often look up how to do a specific thing, or they're like, I wish this very specific tutorial would show me how to do this. Tutorials can only show you how to do, by definition, things that already exist, because even if it didn't exist, it exists once you've made a tutorial for it, right? um, so like in terms of like showing how people how to do more unique and interesting things, ultimately people have to come up with that stuff themselves. And all I can do is show you how to do things that already exist and show you tools for doing things. So like I prefer to do generic videos where I can, rather than like here's how you do a very specific gamey thing. I know I do some of those videos because sometimes examples are good, but like, yeah, this isn't really what I want. So red is generally just something I don't think makes a good topic idea. Sometimes if I can reinterpret it into something that is a good idea, then maybe I'll mark it, even though like I'm not actually really considering the original idea. And I've already done like selecting different kinds of weapons and things like that, so that's why I wouldn't really consider that. Advanced melee attacks. They follow the player, have multiple parts, hitboxes are interruptible. I mean, I kind of covered really a lot of this just with my melee attacks tutorial, so I'm going to mark this in blue, which sort of means I've already done it, or like it already exists. Like I guess like interruptible or whatever. It's like I don't know. I feel like if you really understood my melee tutorial, you'd like following it up with that as kind of a minor thing. Interactive character expressions. Everyone loves character expressions. Don't really know what that means as a tutorial. Interactive expressions tutorial. Like I don't know. I don't really get it. Random world generation. It's a big subject. Yeah, it is a big subject. So that's the thing, like what would the video be about? I already marked one up here, like random world generation using data structures and tiles. I reinterpreted that as like procedural generation using Perlin noise. That's a thing I could do because I've done that before, and I did it in a game jam game called Unsustainable. Use like Perlin noise to generate like a world, because then it's useful because you can get little islands and stuff that pop out, and it feels a bit more like a world rather than just true randomness, which doesn't look very good. So I'll mark that one red, but only because we've kind of got it up there. Smart platformer AI. Enemies knowing paths to player, like how to go only through open rooms, not rooms as in levels, as it would suit the series you already do and make a nice. So I think someone else suggested this actually, and I mean, if it's like does just turn out to be really popular, then maybe I'll start thinking about it. Like I'm noticing there's at least a couple, but like the issue I have with wanting to do fancy platformer AI is then people are going to think it's a good idea to do fancy platformer AI, and a lot of the time it's not. Like if you keep your enemies simple is often better for a lot of the or for a lot of the designers who are watching my videos at least. Yeah, like it's a very specific one for a very specific type of game that would suit it, honestly. Which is honestly not a lot of them. Like, try and worry less about it. You know, make simple behaviors that are fun and interesting as best you can is probably a better thing to focus on. Not that I couldn't ever do it. It's just I'm not convinced. A lot of the things like I kind of regret showing some things in my platformer, like the fact that you can shoot in all directions and stuff like that. I almost wish I'd have done one that was simpler and like you can only shoot forward and back, because I think it would have encouraged better design from newer developers. But there you go. You have to remember that a lot of my videos are naturally going to find their way to beginners. Platformer bosses, it's a good aspect to add into any game. So, like, I get questions about bosses a lot, and the thing is, like, every boss is, like, by definition kind of unique, because they're gonna go, like, the whole idea of a boss is it's like a big challenge for the player based on, like, the mechanics and things that they've learned in the game so far, generally speaking, right? Or like maybe just like a little like extra puzzle on top of just like, but generally they're a test, right? They're a test of the things that you've learned about the game. So it's very, very difficult for me to think of like a generic boss tutorial that's like useful to everyone. I suppose the thing that's useful to everyone is sort of the generic, like, you know, starting a sequence of events or whatever, and like bringing the boss in, and then like defeating the boss, and then like opening the doors to let you out. I've kind of covered that in my wave spawner, although that's not a tutorial, it's a plugin thing. So like I don't know, like um wave spawner tutorial, like I could do a tutorial on how that works. Maybe I did, I don't know. I can't remember, but I'll put that there as maybe a way I could rethink that. Melee attack combo system, one of the important. Yeah, I mean I covered this when I do melee. My melee videos cover doing combos. 2D platformer ledge grabbing. Oh, that came up somewhere else. Yeah, here, like I've already marked it green there, so I'm just gonna mark that one red, just because I've already marked it green. Like I'll do it, but it is very platformer centric, and like I want to get away from making just, you know, a lot of people watch my platformer tutorials, so like I don't want to just like show you how to only make platform games. They're not the only type of game that exists, and like I don't know. I think I want to get people away from thinking that that's the most like generic good type of game to start. I don't think it's really a good one for beginners, honestly, and like it's I don't know. It's a problematic genre. I'll say that much. Platform melee attack, combo attack, and jump attack. Again, we've talked about this. I've done melee attack tutorials already. Moving platforms for a platformer. Yeah, I mean like, yeah, doing like horizontal and vertical moving platforms, like a fresh one, is actually a good idea. Um, um, how should comprehensive moving platforms guide. I think that might actually be a good idea, because it's very, very frequently requested. I can already see like some more of them down here. So yeah, we'll think about coming back to that. I know I've done videos on it before, but they're quite old. I do think about coming back to that and covering like vertical and horizontal. It's been reasonably popular in some of my previous polls anyway. Combo attack for 2D games. Again, like I've talked about, go watch my melee video. It's just state machine based. You go into your state machine, you have the condition for triggering the next part of the combo or dropping the combo. Yeah, that's it. Pretty much how you do it. Moving platforms, yeah, well, we've talked about that already. So I'm just gonna mark that red because we've got it. Maybe I need another color for duplicate or whatever, right? I don't know. Well, we'll just go with red. State machines for Game Maker 2. Yeah, I've covered this. A lot of these, in fairness, like are actually really old and from 2018 and are from before I covered these things. So I'm not digging at the people who submitted them back like 3 years ago, being like, I've done that, because I've done it since, So maybe a lot of these came before like my melee stuff. I don't know. Advanced AI, enemy AI that can jump. Oh right, wait, like so, like again, I think this is platformer AI and like a thing that would chase after you and jump. Like I don't know, it's like people really do seem to want it, but like or did want it way back when. Again, I should remember these are from 2018. Um, I don't know. I'm still not convinced it's a good idea. Dashing, dash state. Considering you did a wall jump tutorial, dashing is another key movement option in platformers and several games actually. I think actually like it seems kind of simple, but maybe it's actually a good one. Generic dash state tutorial, like just to show you just the idea. I guess again, it's state machines. A lot of things are just like watch the state machine video and then meditate for an hour and you know how to do it. Like I don't know. But it's good to show examples. So like, yeah, it might be a good thing to do. Something DS grids. I imagine it would be useful for many times. I don't know what you mean, but sorry. Just a generic DS grids tutorial. I'm not even sure that's like. I almost think they're being replaced by just 2D arrays, kind of. So I don't know that that's actually a good idea these days. Transition animations for the amount of things in state machines. Yeah, I mean, I've done some of this with like my sequences tutorial. I think I did a thing about like transitions and stuff like that. So I think I'm gonna say I've kind of covered that. Um, Multiplayer. This came up way back when it was just like a networking series. A lot of research that would be required from me. And like, because I've never really done it before. I mean, I can learn, and then like one of my skills is being able to teach things that I've learned to other people. But like first of all, it need a lot of research, and also I believe that like on the roadmap, there's a bunch of new stuff coming to Game Maker that's gonna like change networking or like provide new ways to do it. So I'd rather not look into that sort of thing until that is out. Marking things as yellow are kind of like a maybe at some point. I'm gonna mark red because it's duplicate, but yeah, so these things that are yellow are just like, oh, maybe at some point or something like that. Just shaders. I mean, actually, just doing more shaders is actually a thing I want to do. More shader effects. So just like, I don't know, showing how to do more specific effects on that is actually something I can certainly do. How one actually makes a living as an indie dev, how much savings is enough to start. I try and stay away from these sorts of like, I don't know, videos because I don't know that I have like necessarily like all the best advice in the world because what I do is very specific and unique to me. And I don't know, they feel very like I want to teach people how to do the things that I'm good at and know how to do, and I feel like there's a lot of like game developer YouTubers who are just like, like, oh, these are the, don't make this one mistake while you do this, and how to make a living, and all these like really like aspirational kind of content that's very like, I don't want to say clickbaity, but kind of clickbaity, and often a little bit vacuous, or just like, I had this, I made like $1,000, and here's how you can, and I don't know, just. I don't know. So I do make some videos about this kind of thing, but I don't know. It's kind of a maybe. Because this is like kind of rough, right? Melee combat, fighting, animation, health, etc. I can't speak for lots of people, but I managed. All right, so yeah, this I must have looked at this and then be like, I need to make a melee video. That's probably when I did it. So yeah, we've done that, or rather, I believe, yeah. Fake 3D in Gaming Studio 2. Well, I mean, I've done I've offered actual 2D to my actual 3D in GMS2 to my Patreon supporters. They often turn it down. So if you really want to see 3D, you need to sign up for my Patreon supporters and outvote them, because they generally gets very, very little votes. In fact, like I think I won one of these topic polls, like literally this one, look, Basic 3D got like 5 votes. And someone said, like, for me, not interested in 3D on Game Maker with 3 likes. I think there's actual, like, people don't actually care about it. So, kind of like, it's sorry to say. Like, I could do it. Like, I do 3D stuff. I like doing 3D in Game Maker, but, the people don't really want it. Maybe I'll still do a video at some point, but not likely at the moment. State machine applications. You've outlined a basic state machine models in various different ways. I mean, like, I'm marking it red because I'd like, it's not a specific example, and like there's specific things I could do with the one that was something like this. Like this is kind of like one of them. Like I agree in principle, but I'm looking for specific topics right now. So refactoring tips. As your viewers branch out from your tutorials or return to the basics of modifying, trying to rework them. Perhaps some examples taking the same starting simple prototype, expanding in different directions. Best layer and approach for each example. I don't know. Firstly, I don't know that I don't necessarily have great advice for this. But also I kind of I don't want to encourage people to spend all their time refactoring. Like, I want people to just make stuff and make stuff and make stuff until they just don't need me anymore, Melee weapon. Well, it looked cool, I guess. Okay. Make new tutorials of GMS2 complete platformer, state machine, and melee attack. I think this would be great for me. I'm confused. He just wants me to remake those videos, or just... Oh, he wants me to add state machines. I thought state machines were in the platformer. Maybe they weren't. I don't know. Possibly not. Melee attack in the platformer. Yeah, that would be a new thing. But no, I don't want to add more to that series right now. The spear from Pokepoke. I actually did a video explaining more or less how that works. A tower defense card game like the one you made on Twitch for the LD Game Jam. Oh, right. How you made the effects, the aspect of putting towers on the grid, etc. I think would be very helpful to indie devs. Yeah, there's some cool effects in that. Just like the way the hand, like the hand of cards shows some stuff, putting things on a grid. Some ideas here. I'll mark that one yellow. Variable charge shots. To understand how to make charge shot change damage based on how long you hold the button. Oh, right, okay. I mean, I get the idea. I don't think it's like necessarily a super useful... I don't know. Is that like a useful concept that you can apply a lot? How to make something where you just hold a thing? I don't know, it feels very throwaway. Like, it doesn't feel like there'd be a lot of interest around that. But like, I mean, I could see myself making that video. I just not sure it's a good one for a lot of people, or that it's something a lot of people need. One way of moving platforms, yeah, one-way platforms is different. There are seemingly very few. I don't know. I think there's quite a few places to get information about platforms and stuff. One-way information platforms that work with enemies. I don't know what that. I mean, well, you just apply to the enemies whatever logic you use to apply it to the player, surely. Oh, I suppose like maybe some old methods I've shown involve like turning the collision mask off for the platform or something like that. Proper old videos. New one-way platform video. That's the thing I could do. Like I probably covered it with really old strategies before. So covering it again might be a good idea. Steam saves and achievement systems are kind of hard to do because the Steam API is like has non-disclosure agreements around it. So unfortunately, just the Game Maker manual is really as good as you're going to get for that kind of thing. A lot of the time, because I can't show you the part where you actually hook it into Steam. I don't know, maybe I could do that and just be like, and then go hook it into Steam or whatever. I don't know, like, hard to do because of NDA. Maybe GM side has value. Yeah, it's possible, I guess. The ability to move back into a room, for that matter, being able to enter a room from different sides. We've covered room persistence before, and it's hard to cover because all games are going to have different requirements. And again, it's probably referencing a specific... It says, right now, your levels of aggressive. They're probably talking about a series or something. They want that, but yeah. keys and locks. Finding a key item, adding it to your UI, then unlock something can be interesting game mechanic. Kind of covered in the ARPG, but like, I don't know. This is just like assigning a thing to a variable and then doing things based on that variable. You know, I don't know. Is it the variable flow and game mechanics? Maybe there's some way I can make that generic. That's a tricky one. Crushing falling pillars. Pillars you can walk on that will fall, or ones that crush you to the side. I'm not sure I know what you mean. Moving on. Making a mini map. It's vital for a lot of games. Yeah, that could be cool. I don't know, yeah, there's a lot of different genres and stuff that can make use of mini maps and things like that. There's lots of different ways you might do a mini map, so um, but yeah, a lot of ways I've tried to do it before, but actually about creating a separate view and like re-rendering the whole game to one, it's not a good way of doing it at all. I don't think. Oh, it might be for some games, but not in general. So it'd be cool to like work out a good minimap thing and make that a video. Player 2 support. Any multiplayer games you can, well, just make another player object, and then it's the same, only it just takes in different controls. There you go. You multiplayer. Like and subscribe. Um, Character customization. This pop up again and again, different custom characters that would fit. Yeah, so like there's a lot of different ways to do this. But maybe showcasing one of them would be useful for a lot of people, like main characters out of multiple parts. I'd really have to commit to one specific approach that would not fit a lot of games. There would only, because there's several, and like the one that's going to be right depends very much on your game. It's like whether or not you use like a whether it's just changing colors of things, whether it's changing different parts and like making a sprite out of multiple like bits of sprite, and whether it's like like bone animation and that kind of thing. It's like there's a lot of different things there. Um, but like there's ways I've done that before that I could cover. More detailed sound system, audio emitter, audio play, add object with distance decal. I covered a lot for it already, but maybe to bring to closure one more tutorial with audio emitters and objects to play with. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it sounds like you already know how to do it, and maybe you're just thinking, like, maybe you're just helping me brainstorm, which I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know if that's interesting. Um, oh, custom, like, I feel like if you know how to do this stuff, like working that stuff out, it's not hard. Custom gamepad controls. Input tutorial is probably a good idea in general, but or like button rebinding. But you kind of have to build a system into your game to account for it, right? I think that's a good idea. It's going to take a lot of work, but that's probably a good idea. Palette swapping. I recommend Pixelated Pope's like thing for doing that. It's just kind of good. But I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. I don't have to write anything with that one really. That should maybe talk about which marketplace add-ons you use and find valuable. Yeah, I mean it's pretty much it's kind of throwaway content. So it's probably not something I'd put to my Patreon supporters, but maybe something I could sort of do in between, as a quick video. Um, GUI and life bar. I've actually done this. I think we did a HP bar tutorial in the end. Scaling, aspect ratio, resolution. Oh, like I don't know. There's too many things, too many games, too many specific things. Everything depends around your game. It's annoying because it is a big topic and it is something I feel like is missing. Like I haven't really talked about how it works a lot. Honestly, because it seems like it keeps changing in GameMaker and like it doesn't seem like a lot of the stuff stays good, especially with Draw GUI and the way Draw GUI scales just does not seem to remain consistent in GameMaker for a long time. So it's something I do want to exist. I've never quite worked out how to do the video on it or whatever. I think a lot of it was covered quite well by Pixelated Pope, although some of it might be out of date by now. His videos are quite good on that. So I kind of just recommend them really for most of the time. Platformer boss. Again, we talked about, yeah, bosses. Like, what did I say about the boss one before? I don't know. Um, can't even find it. Like, oh right, we said like something like the wave spawner tutorial or something that like just showed you how to start something, but in the context of boss, you know, like maybe I don't know. But like we've already covered that. So YouTube API, like the Twitch API, I've already covered. I mean, I basically just got Juju to do it for me, so and I don't really know how it works. Um, and I don't really stream to YouTube anymore anyway. Procedural terrain generation using DS grids or tile maps. Yeah, I mean, I was talking about like the pillar noise stuff, so we might do that at some point, but we've already covered that. Tile collision slopes for the roof. Oh, right. So an expansion of my slope system would be like, how do you deal with like upside down stuff? I think I have done it before, but like, I would need research more. I don't know, like that was a 50-minute video I did on just showing you how to do like slopes, just like without a bunch of like extra stuff in them. Like adding that on top of it is kind of a bit much. I don't know. I don't think it's likely, but maybe at some point. RPG with interesting events and selections like Undertale, Player Trigger, something. I mean, this is kind of covered in my RPG actually. Like, you know, just if you've understood it and they've seen like, oh, you turn on variables and they do things, you know, like I kind of feel like it already exists. But I mean, maybe there's some like specific examples that I could do that might just help get the point across of how it works. Maybe. Converting board games to video games. I don't know what that means as a video tutorial. Um, Workflow processes for creating and implementing a feature in a game. Which is how to do something. The tutorial gives a great framework for the project already. Maybe they're talking about my platform. I would love to know how you implement something and the process of figuring out how. Yeah, it's hard to do a tutorial on that specifically, like because I don't really know the words a lot of the time. I try and talk about it in various things. Like that's part of what the Game Maker Surgery videos were about. I still want to do more of them. Um, and you know, showing you how to like work out how to do a specific thing and like talking about like the thinking through it. But it just comes a lot of it comes down to like it's hard because it's unique to you and unique to what tools you have in your head, right? Um, like it's the sort of thing I'm trying to get into videos, but it's hard to do a specific video on that sort of thing. For me at least. Resolving issues with HTML export. I don't know what they are. Seems fine to me. NPC schedule system, similar to Stardew Valley, where they can travel between rooms to get to their destination. I don't really know how to do it, so I don't know. I don't know. It seems like very complex and in depth, and would be like an hour-long tutorial for a thing that I don't even that I would have to research from scratch. You know, if it's something I ever do for a game, and like I'm like, oh, I understood this, and I'm a really good elegant system, then maybe I'll make a tutorial for it. But enemy pathfinding, I don't know, maybe Friendly Cosmonauts thing because she did like a farming game tutorial, or a few people I've seen do like tutorial series on that kind of thing. So it might have already been done somewhere else. I don't know. Enemy pathfinding, like just generic pathfinding is maybe something I could do. That's like actually a good idea. In fact, yeah. Um, because I mean, like I've never wanted to do a tutorial on it before because I've always thought that I've never been very good at it. I've got it in a whole bunch of my games, and like my most recent Ludendari game had a bunch of like fancy pathfinder, like RTS pathfinding and stuff in it. But I still don't really know that it's good, so it's still just like needs research. You know, I'd want to do something that was solid, um, and it's probably in depth as well. which is to say, like, it's ended up being a very, very long, chunky video that only a few people would actually be able to stomach. Inventory system, pretty common. Yeah, I mean, we did a video on it. Player text entry. Player common for, yeah, it's actually a pretty good idea. Like how to just take a text input from the player. That's good. Advanced NPC movement. Allows for more complex level building. Create NPCs that move more intuitively. I don't really know what you mean. It's not specific enough. How to do scrolling style levels like the old top-down shooter. Scrolling levels. I think I actually marked that as like a maybe earlier on. So it's not a terrible idea. It's a specific genre thing, which I don't like doing, but maybe. Random 2D level generation. Yeah, we've talked about that. Nifty UI/UX polish. Things like radial menus, dynamic cues on interactive objects, tabbed menus, etc. Yeah, this topic is a bit open-ended. So I kind of like, I suppose like, I hate the word, but juice examples video. I think a lot of people might like that kind of thing actually. You know, just a lot of quick like, here with 3 lines of code, I've made this thing a little bit bouncy or a little like a nice like eased movement or something like that, and things that just like feel nice and bouncy and pretty. Yeah, just like, I don't know, 10 juice things you can put in your game today. Like, yeah, that could be a thing. Hello, Sean, my name's Yuri. I would like to watch how to make the online game because I already have my own board game, so I'm going to get online. I need some basic instructions because it's networking again, right? We've talked about that. Okay, so that's all the ideas people have submitted there since 2018. You might think, oh, there's not actually that many, but 2018 ended around here. So, like, you can see, like, when I first put the form out, like, and then I just, I stopped like putting the form in videos or whatever because I just kind of forgot about it. I want to start using it again, so it'll be linked in the description, probably linked in the pinned comment and so on. So go use it. Like, dump more terrible ideas on me, and I can. I don't know, they're not terrible ideas. Like, there's some good ones in here. It's useful. Those things I hadn't thought of. So yeah, get these in here, and like it's going to be a thing now. I won't do a video on it every time, but I'm just going to regularly sort through. As well as probably use this space to add my own just like things that I'm thinking about, so that it's just all in one place, and then I can just sort of sort them. And then it's a bit easier for me when I want to do polls for Patreon supporters. I can just like grab a few and be like, okay, which of these things should I like look into next? All right, thank you for that one. Just kind of, just randomly decided to make a video, and I'll see you all next time.